I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Culpy and Chip.
A bonus song.
Ghosty.
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
A bonus song. This is Korn.
Yes.
Korn just randomly released a song called You'll Never Find Me. So we're going to review it. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Oh, also, this is something that we've never talked about before. So, like, a long time ago, I went to get my hair done, like, years ago at this salon, and I had already had my miscarriage at that point, and I started talking to the other lady that was in the office, and she was telling me how one of her kids also had had a miscarriage. Well, turns out that they ended up getting pregnant basically about the same time I was pregnant with Orion, and she made it through the entire pregnancy, but then, well, partway through they realized there was a problem with like the baby's heart and stuff like that. His name is Carson. So there was a problem with his heart, and so they said once he was going to be born that there was going to be like surgeries and stuff that he was going to have to go through and stuff. And anyway, his whole story is posted. I'm going to put a link. They have to drive back and forth to like the hospital, and there's different things that he needs and stuff like that. And she was telling me about it because we were talking about rainbow babies and stuff, because Orion was born basically the same time as him. And she's like, we haven't had a chance to hold him because he had to be like in this special little set up because he had his surgeries and stuff. So if anybody is interested in checking out their story or even donating like $1 for them for gas or whatever, their GoFundMe is going to be in the link on this video. So hopefully, yeah, I guess he's doing a lot better now. You'll be able to see the pictures. He's done the surgery and stuff like that. He wasn't even going to be getting the heart, but then his name ended up on the list, and it stayed on the list accidentally, and so then they called him and said we have a heart for him, and so he was able to get, I guess, a really strong heart. So that was like really exciting. But it was a pretty emotional thing, like hearing about him, and like we got these little bracelets. This helped pay for some gas for them and stuff. So yeah, the whole story is there. It's a pretty wild story. But anyway, what?
No, it just is. Flush all. Very emotional situation.
Yeah, it was very emotional for me. I cried a lot.
You always cry. You know us in the village, we're always doing something to help somebody. Alright, so this is Korn, You'll Never Find Me, from the album The Nothing.
Nothing?
That's the name of the record, and this is the first single, inshallah.
Okay.
Ready?
Go.
You'll never find me. I'm lost. You'll never find me. I'm lost. You'll never find me. I'm lost.
I like it.
That's some old school Korn. We hear stuff
The
in the
sound.
background, and
Yeah.
like That sounds like like a Ross Robinson, like old school Korn track.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You remember, like with Daddy, like
Yes.
he's crying all stuff. Yeah, so like that was like Ross Robinson. He,
okay.
he'd do stuff like that.
All right.
Well,
Who's Ross Robinson? Is that the guy that was like the
he's
producer or something?
Yeah, he was the one that produced the first 2 Korn records, the first 2 Slipknot records.
Okay.
So like he's legendary for the genre. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Do you have the lyric? Are the lyrics not out yet?
No, the lyrics are up there.
Oh, cool.
Right here. Big Korn fan, Vincent. Okay, so what did you think the song was? Well, what was your take on the song? What did you think of it?
Oh, I liked it. I liked the energy that was in it. And it seemed like it would be a fun song to like jump around to. At the end, I was like, oh yeah, I can turn. Look, my dial is up higher than yours. This never happens.
I know. Well,
Like-
I forgot actually that I could do that with
You
the dial.
did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Curse you!
I'm like, yes! I'm like up like a couple points higher than you. That never, usually you're always the one cranking it up. But I really liked it. I don't know, I needed to, the lyrics weren't up here for me to see, so I don't know.
Well, I hate to speculate because it's such a sensitive topic, but, remember his
I know,
wife,
I wondered that.
ex-wife died, and that's got to have a major, a guy as sensitive and compassionate as Jonathan,
Yeah.
to have to deal with that type of situation is brutal. So
Yeah.
I figured that in the next record he was gonna try to kind of find ways to
Put that in there.
to deal with it, and I don't know if he is talking from her perspective. You see what I'm saying?
Oh.
I'm lost, you'll never find me.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Because she was actually discovered. So there, by the way, on a really random note, there's a YouTuber that he made a video, like his last video, where he was talking about like his life and things like that, and Atika is his name. He's a fellow YouTuber, and he was just discovered yesterday. So I think we're gonna do something to raise awareness for, around the concept of suicide and taking your own life and things of that nature. I'm not reading that into this song. Well, I am, in the sense that, he's just coming off of a pretty painful life event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's what he was talking about. Some of the stuff that he was saying, I was like, I wonder if it has anything to do with that. But I wasn't thinking from her perspective. I was thinking from his, like, I'm lost, you'll never find me. Like,
yeah,
there are certain life events that, in a sense, you've been lost forever since. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so that's,
And I can relate when you lose a person in that way,
yeah.
you're just never the same again. And,
Yeah.
and I know, like, I'm just not, I'm not the same person. I never will be on this side of the planet. But, so it's hard not to read that into the situation. And then if you go down, he'll says, I'm not doing fine.
Right.
Come for me, I'm not doing fine, etc.
Right.
And it's almost like when you lose somebody in that way, you wish they would have said that to you. Like this line right here.
Oh.
Come for me, I'm not doing fine, I'm not doing fine. Like I wish, especially a particular someone that we lost, like if she would have said,
Yeah.
I need help, come for me, I need help, I'd have been right there, But, so, it's hard not to read that into it, but I'm going to, so there's that. Life is degrading in silence, they're making me spun out inside my own head, steering and craving this darkness is baiting me down the road to my own death. And it's like people who, I'm pretty sure she had overcome some addiction issues and things like that, and then went back and forth, and then
Somewhat.
addiction issues.
Yep.
You know, so it's a tough thing to deal with, and it's hard to watch somebody who really, you know, when people say it's all in your head, they use that term to try to imply that something isn't real.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's all in your head, it's not real. And that's always, it's like such a strange thing to me, because, okay, if it is in my head,
then there's a
then
problem.
it is really in my head, then it's real.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Right.
Of course it's in my head. That's the problem.
Right.
It would be better if it was outside of my head, because then I could switch locations.
Right.
So people say things like it's in your head as if to say, like, oh, you know,
it's not as
it's
big
not
of
a
a
real,
deal.
or it's not as
Yeah.
severe.
Yeah.
And something being in your head is actually worse than something being out in the world, you know, like if the monster was in that room, I would just leave that room and I'd be fine.
Right.
You know? But
or like the other thing too is that if the monster was in that room, I could say, look, there's a monster, and we could see it together.
Adopt, right.
But when something is in your head, it's you by yourself have to deal with that, and nobody understands the terror or the fear or whatever goes along with it like you yourself does. And you can try to explain it to somebody, but then when they just belittle it and make it seem like, well, it's just in your head, you're like, that is the problem why I'm trying to explain it to you and you're not understanding. And that can make it more terrifying when you feel very, very alone.
I think one of the benefits of having a mom that struggled with mental illness for me was she understood when I was having a very bad, very dark episode. So my mom never trivialized that type of thing. And she was hyper vigilant with me because she knew how bad it could have gotten. So on the one hand, it sucked to have a mom with mental illness, you know, because it's hard. You know, she'd go through whole stretches of months where she was bedridden, and as a kid I didn't understand it. But so that was hard. But when I became a teenager and I got knocked out with it, she knew exactly what to do. She knew exactly what was going on. She never trivialized it. She was really, really supportive because she knew where I was coming from. You know, and unfortunately for our family, it goes back, like, as far as I know, like 3 or 4 generations to my knowledge.
Wow.
So, and you know, I watch the kids, and you know, especially Dorian, he's a very, very sensitive dude, and I try to affirm that as much as I possibly can, you know, but so yeah, like, spun out inside my own head. It's like, unless you go through stuff like that, you don't know what it's like, and sometimes it gets trivialized a lot. So the reason I think it's about her is this line right here. So come give me the truth you hide, see the ring inside. So that might be a double. The ring as in, you know, it was his ex-wife, you know what I mean? So, and he's saying, see the ring inside. So, of course, it's
so
art.
Funny because I thought it was him, but explain why you think it's her.
Well, why do you think it's...
Well, for him, it's like, you know how when there's a sudden death like that, it was suicide, correct? Or it's...
They never. I don't think they ever really. I don't think they ever really. But she was found somewhere, and then nobody was prosecuted for it. So.
Right.
You know, he tried to keep it private. Something like that happened, I'd keep it private too. But we can assume that. Yeah, that's what happened. Or a drug over.
Private?
Yeah, I wouldn't tell everybody if that happened with you.
Really? Well,
no way.
I don't agree with you. I think that it would be an opportunity to talk and, like.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't talk about it. You know.
Yeah, I would want somebody else to get help through it. But so in that situation, can you pull up that? Because whenever there's like a suicide or sudden death or something where you have there's questions and there's no one that can give answers because nobody knows what that person was thinking.
Okay, so it's died of a combo of 5 different drugs. Death is ruled an accident. So.
But it's still, I mean, maybe not.
I
I'm not sure.
literally have a family member who died that exact way. And they initially were going to classify it as old age. She
Really?
was barely... Yeah, remember I was on the phone?
Yeah, but I don't remember them saying old age.
And, yeah, they classified it that way, and then I'm like, no, you guys really need to dig in and find out what the hell happened there. And then she then they called me and they basically said, because she was a registered nurse. And so they were like, the lady on the other line was like, look, I don't know what you want me to put on the death cert because there wasn't space on the report to put all the stuff she had in her system. And her being a nurse, you know, like she knew what to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if his wife did that on purpose. So like, I don't want to speculate. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at minimum, she had a bunch of that in her system, and that ended up taking her life. You know. Mm-hmm. But what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Just when it says, can you pull up those lyrics again? When he's saying, I think it's right here. That tab. Yeah, when he's saying, right.
See the ring inside.
Scroll up just a smidge. Okay, so come give me the truth you hide. See the ring inside. For me, I was thinking, I wonder if that means like, because when somebody dies in that way or whatever, like there's so many questions that you're still left with, and why did they do it, and you know, like, was it something that particularly put them over the edge that day, or were you over the edge like for days before and you just kept holding on, and why didn't you say something, and why didn't you come to me, or why didn't you call out for help, how come you didn't go somewhere, you know, like there's so many different questions that come up. And so like, so come give me the truth you hide, the truth being, what was it? What was actually going on with you? Because I didn't realize things were as bad as they were. And then see the ring inside, for me, meant that he was still felt connected, even though they weren't, that was his ex-wife, right? They were not married anymore. So like there was no physical ring that he was wearing on the outside, but inside he still had that like connection with her. So see the ring inside, that he was like, it was still a part of him. She was still a part of him.
Right.
So.
Right. And this is the statement he released. He said, over the past decade, my wife has been very sick. She had a serious mental illness. Her addiction was a side effect. I loved her with all my being. When she was her true self, she was an amazing wife, amazing mother, and amazing friend.
Oh, she was her true self. Oh, that's cute.
And it's true. When you're dealing with somebody with mental illness, there are different versions of them. And you can't, you know, it's really, really hard stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, because you know what I'm talking about as far as my own life, but so it's hard because it's like, yeah, the ring inside, like he's like, you know, I still would have been there for you, I think is the point. Like, you know, like I still loved you and whatever. And you know, and that's the thing is when she relapsed, apparently he said that, and it's like at the time of her death she was recently sober and then she relapsed. And we talk about it all the time, like when these people like they fight it and they give it like a heroic effort and then they revert back to it, and then their body cannot handle the same degree of, you know, abuse, because it took a while for them to get to that level. You know,
right?
And then when
you
they
put that level of concentration inside of their bloodstream,
right?
It
destroys you, and so, you know, and it's, you know, that movie What Dreams May Come, you know, where the girl was in hell because she basically killed herself, so she was in hell, but it wasn't like fiery hell. It was just this big gray mansion, and Robin Williams' job was to get her out of the mansion. Like, she had to choose to get out of the mansion, and like
I never saw that movie.
He had to like basically try to love her out of the mansion.
Love her
out of the mansion, yeah. You know, and, because if she stayed in there, like she'd stay in there forever. Like after a certain point, and it's I remember watching the movie. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's so sweet" or whatever. But like when you love somebody in that situation, like it's the scariest thing of all time. Like it's not. Because you feel like there's a clock, and you feel like you're gonna wake up and hear some horrible whatever. So, yeah, it's romantic because obviously it's a Hollywood movie, so you can guess what happened. Yeah, very romantic, but it's that's real life. That's what it's like to love somebody that's struggling with that type of thing. You know? And you know, you have all these feelings of whatever, and they left you, and yada yada yada, and it's like I always look at it like they hung on as long as they could, you know, and then that's kind of how I look at it, you know. But the tough song, man, the tough song, but I'm very happy that Jonathan has this outlet, you know, because even though like you kind of write music for yourself, like we're in the middle of writing something and it's pretty emotional stuff, but you write it for yourself to deal with it, but you also know it's going to help a lot of people. So if people have context, for, you know, what's going on here, I think it'll help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, there you are. I'm going to go ahead and silent count this one as far as the rating because I love the song. You know, it's kind of old school Cornish, but I'm just, this one's pretty close to home, you know.
Yeah, it's a heavy.
It's a heavy one. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl, man. Look at that. He looked really hot. Look at this picture. It's kind of like... I'm just looking at pictures of Jonathan and Devin was her name. Shout out to the big homie. She's with the Ain't Self. Inshallah, we'll all meet again. We'll rock out together. So, much love to Korn. We just did an interview with Brian. We're going to be meeting them pretty soon here when the tour stuff starts up again. So, good stuff. I'll give my man Jonathan a hug, inshallah. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and silent count this.
Yeah,
what do you got?
sure. Same thing. I mean, I liked it. The sound of it was really good, but silent count as well.
Sorry to be a downer for everyone.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think that and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a depressing review. But then it's like, we're not going to be like, oh, yippee, it might be about, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, that's not the song. And I think that when you come to hear the song, you come to hear a review about the song. So, you know, it is what it is. So we're never going to fake it. And if we're feeling sad about a song, you're going to see it. So.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you end up loving people really deeply as people. You know, when Jonathan the whole band has brought so many people through so much. And you hear so many times, Korn saved my life and yada, yada, yada. And when you lose somebody like that, it's like, why couldn't I've heard so many people say that to me, like, if it wasn't for you, I would have done this and this on this night. And it's like, yeah, but I had 2 major misses. You know what I mean? So, just a lot of thoughts and a lot of, you know, it's tough stuff. But anyway, sorry to be a downer, but to Sori's point, you know, it is what it is. All right, guys. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.